This is a brief demonstration of a website called www.marinetraffic.com. And it's exciting because it allows you to look at all the commercial vessels and some other even pleasure vessels that are underway around the world. In fact, when you open it, more than likely you're going to see it centered around Africa and Europe and the Mediterranean and the Atlantic. You can click and drag the map to get it closer to an area of interest to you. If you're using a mouse, it's easy just using the mouse wheel to zoom in. If you're not using a mouse, you might have to come up here to the upper right corner of the map and use these minus signs or plus signs to get where you want to be. But I'm going to come in over here and I'm going to zoom in closer to our area here. And as you see, I've now selected areas here. This is Carlsbad and San Clemente's up here, Oceanside's here, Escondido. The reason I'm seeing features here in roads is I turned on a feature that said use a standard map instead of a simple map. Time permitting, I'll show you how to do that at the end. But this is an indication. All of these little icons out here are showing the name of the vessel. You'll notice that if I zoom in a little bit closer, let's see. We're seeing this one. The name of the vessel is PGC Ikaros, Ikaros. And the reason I'm seeing that name is I did turn on a feature. The reason I'm able to turn certain features off and on is that I did establish a free account with this website, and that gave me some limited capabilities. People that want more will need to pay for the ability to see more information about the vessels and more information in general and tailor the map to their choosing. But one kind of cool thing to do is first to maybe zoom in and if you hover over it, not clicking but just hover over it, it'll give you a bit of information, more than just the name. If I click on it, a panel opens up and there's kind of more information here. This is a nice photograph of it. It's here in very faint writing. It says this is a crude oil tanker. And there's a way to come down and get more details about the vessel by clicking right here where the green vessel details is. And this will give you all kinds of information about the ship. Okay, so explore that at your leisure. I'm going to use the back key on the browser to come back to the previous view here. Alright, and then I'm going to use the X here to get rid of this panel. And I'm going to use my mouse wheel to zoom in a bit closer. Now let's say I'm interested in measuring the distance between the ship and a point on the land. So this is La Costa Boulevard, the southern boundary of Carlsbad before Carlsbad bridges into Encinitas, Leucadia. And I could measure the distance from the ship to, let's say, the point here on the coast or any point on the land. Watch what happens when I do a right click on the icon. I get a choice of things, and the third one is distance from here. And now as I move my cursor, I'm not clicking, I'm just moving my cursor. It's extending a line to any point of interest. So, for example, right now I would say that that ship is 4.7 nautical miles from the coast, right where the Bataquitos Lagoon empties into the Pacific Ocean. Okay, so this is kind of fun. If I click on it, it establishes a point there and it gives me more information. Okay, and if I want to be finished with this tool, I can right click and say exit the distance tool. Otherwise, you can do a variety of points connected to each other and measure the combined distance, all those kinds of cool things. Okay, so that's kind of fun. Those are the primary features that I use. Be aware that this is available as a mobile app for either Apple or Android products, so find it in the appropriate app store. Now, again, you'll be asked if you want to establish an account on the app to sign in and get more functionality. I really like the fact that I can see the names of the ships even without hovering over them. Okay, so That's just kind of a nice thing. Otherwise, you wouldn't see that unless you turned it on. And there's actually a way to indicate a particular ship and track it, and that feature is called fleets. In other words, my fleets. So if you've got a few more seconds or minutes here, let me show you what you can do here. Over here on the legend, you have vessel filters. And if you pay money, you can unlock some or all of these filters. But here's a place to find the type of ship, and this is a legend, if you will, that says, well, a red arrow is a tanker and a green arrow is a cargo vessel. And if I put check marks in them, I can turn them off and on if I want to. Okay, so in other words, you can turn off a lot of things if you're not interested in it. But you can see you've got quite a variety here. I have them all turned on, and they are turned on by default. There's more information under capacity. Again, I'm not paying for this kind of stuff, so other particulars. These are all things that would be available. I am able to indicate, show me ships that are underway and ships that are at anchor. Other things I'm not allowed to play with unless I would pay. We're going to ignore the rest of these things because I don't use them. If you come down here to the second icon, it has a heart and a blue dot. This is where you could say, look, I don't want to see all the vessels out there. I just want to see vessels that I'm tracking. And the way you track a vessel is to add it to one of your fleets. You can choose the name of the fleet. I'm going to check Fleet. That's one that I created. And we're going to come down and look at it. Now, if I leave this switch show other vessels on, it's not going to do me a lot of good because my vessel would show up no matter what. But if I turn off show other vessels, then I'm only going to see vessels that are in my fleet. Okay, which is kind of nice. So if you're interested in what's happening to a particular vessel or two or three, you can add them to your fleet. You can have multiple fleets. Again, if you start paying, you can do fancier things, but I'm able to do this with just a free account.